you taking a gap year. The first reason I don't like you taking a gap year is, one, if you don't make it per se, right, your normal graduation year, coaches kind of are like, well, what's wrong with you? You know, what did you do wrong? Because like nobody really traditionally wants to take a gap year. So they're like, are you damaged goods? They're a little bit questionable. That's one issue. And some people need a gap year. They get better. They can play MLS next, maybe another year, or ECNL, or they get injured. So there's usually something that has gone wrong, typically speaking. That's number one. Number two is, from a social perspective, like you'll want to graduate with your class. Otherwise, you're going to be you'll have to take junior college classes at your local school that aren't going to, in your case, with your amazing grades, would totally defeat the purpose. So that it's just not an option. It's non-negotiable. And I'm sure your parents agree with me. The other thing I just want you to know from a soccer perspective, because I know your goal is to play Division I, is you have a better chance of transferring than you would taking a gap year, hoping that you would then commit to a Division I school having done the gap year. Does that make sense? Like playing another year of ECNL, you're going to get ultimately the same results, maybe a couple different ones, or it could get worse. Davidson could go, we don't need your position any longer. It could get worse, it could get better, but the margins are so small that you're, in my humble opinion, you're mostly better off going to play college soccer. Plus, college soccer is higher level than ECNL. Does that make sense? So,
especially NESCAC.
Thank you. Especially NESCAC. You go do well and play every minute, which is kind of what Hamilton are, I mean, I wouldn't say they're saying it, but unofficially, that is a way better chance. And you'll still stay in touch with Davidson. So for the student that we had committed from Division III to Division I, we had him send every touch videos during his season, and the coach was like, you did fantastic. I know the Hamilton coach. Come to my school. And he transferred to Division I. Does that make sense? Okay. Washington and Lee committed 2 kids this year from Division III to Division I. Okay. So, anyways, I think we're on the same page there. The point is now, because there's not a lot of camps left, and that's one way to be seen, and then the next showcase is going to be in December, it's not an option for us, ultimately, is what I'm saying. What I'm getting at is there is no more opportunity for anybody to see you in person unless they come to a fall game, which is very unlikely. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in saying that, realistically, we are going to email, I'm going to show you the email we're going to write to a bunch of Division I schools to gauge what level of interest they're in. Part of it, not in the initial email, but in the follow-up email, we'll be talking about, hey, I have an offer, and I have to therefore make a decision very soon. That's one thing we're going to do.
Hey,
yeah.
Zeb, before we do that, I just wanted to remind, I don't know if Campbell, when you were due sometime this week to talk to Coach Bapst, correct?
No, he didn't give me an exact date. He just said
a couple of weeks. He said a couple of weeks, which was what, 2.5 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
We'll follow up with him either this week
Okay.
or early next week, regardless. So good question. We'll definitely do that early next week. We'll draft it today. And we're going to ask him, honestly, we're going to say, like, this is my situation. Be my mentor for a minute. What would you recommend we do? Because that's also what we want. If he's, if he says, to be fair, our students are not going to give us an offer for another 3 weeks. Let's wait. You have 3 weeks. Let's wait another 3 weeks. Or maybe, because I think that's all we're waiting on. I don't think it's a decision of, we need to see you again or anything. It's just they have other offers that are technically ahead of you. And that, Campbell, I think is an important piece. When I went on my official visit for college, I was not the top recruit. Now, in my case, I was like, look, I'm going to go there because that's where I want to go, and I don't care about that. But in hindsight, going to a school that really wanted me would have meant I would have played my freshman year. Does that make sense? Okay. So, in saying that, I think it says a lot that one school really wants you and the other school is debating, frankly. So, anyways, to that end, we'll still follow up with them. We're going to send a list of emails to D1s. We'll only focus on D1s. We basically have a month. We have 1 month. Unless something else comes out of the blue, which I'll be the first to tell you has happened before in college soccer recruiting. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to push something about the fall season.